Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. This is part 4, the final part for today. It's Monday, February 25th, 2013. I'm Darko. I just wanted to put it out there, guys. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get these links up today or any of these days this week. My internet just keeps going in and out. It's mostly when I'm just recording, or when I'm trying to upload these videos. It mysteriously disappears. My connection, that is. Either way, dad accused of murdering drunk driver who killed his sons. So it says here, an epic, tragic series of events led to one Texas dad being charged with murder for allegedly killing the drunk driver who killed his sons. And this is, again, this is crazy. This Barajas reportedly shot and killed Jose Banda on December 7th after Banda struck the man's family's pickup truck, killing his 11 and 12-year-old son. The boy and their father had been pushing the disabled truck towards the family's home when Banda, who was reportedly intoxicated, crashed a Chevy Malibu into the vehicle. Witnesses reported that Barajas went into a nearby house, came out with a gun allegedly used to shoot Banda in the head. So this is pretty crazy, though, because this is about the state carrying out justice. And if you do it yourself, that's vigilantism. Then it's illegitimate justice, which I think is complete horseshit. Texas, of all places, they're the capital punishment capital of the world. And that's why I'm not for it, because it's the state carrying out justice like that. I don't approve of that. So nothing's going to happen to this piece of shit. And I'm sorry, but just pardon my French here, but nothing's going to happen to this guy that was rear-ended. And one of the accidents that I was in, I was rear-ended by this dude that was intoxicated. I'm not criticizing people that drink. It's just, if you drink too much and you start getting in the car and driving, you're putting everybody else at risk. It sucks. It sucks that this guy lost his sons and nothing's going to bring him back. But it's not up to the state to decide what the hell happens to this guy. That's a perpetrator. That is a perp, right? There is an actual victim there. There's numerous victims. But see, then that's so effed up, is that there's actual victims in this crime, this common law crime, and nothing could happen, right? Because the state runs off these non-common law infractions or offenses where there's hardly any victims at all. It says here, call to screen prisoners for brain injury. So it says prisoners in Scotland's jails should undergo tests for signs of brain injury and be prescribed mood-altering drugs to help bring down reoffending rates. I don't know if you remember, I just covered an article where it was saying that prisons and stuff like that, or judges and courts, we're going to start using algorithms to basically give sentences to prisoners based off all their information. We were just talking about the mentally ill too, how they're forced to take their medication. Yeah, fish are becoming easier to catch. Remember this article that I covered? Because traces of antidepressants are getting into the water supply and making them more relaxed. Sedatives are getting into the waterways through sewage. Study claims it makes fish bolder and causes them to eat more quickly. Effects could harm delicate systems. So it's turning fish into greedy, risk-taker loners. So exposed to the sedative, which carries into the waterways. So it's used to treat anxiety and insomnia, called oxazepam. It made the fish bolder and less social. You're going to love this. Horsemeat scandal. Bute found in 8 horse carcasses. 8 horses killed in the UK tested positive for the painkiller, and 6 may have entered the food chain in France. So it goes on here, and it says, right off the bat, England's chief medical officer, so she cares about your health, right? She's an officer. It's like military. She trusts her, right? It says here, the highest level detected was 1.9 milligrams of Bute per kilogram of horse meat, which posed very little risk to human health. She said it exposed very little risk to human health. So this substance, also referred to as Bute or this Phenylbutazone, is an anti-inflammatory drug for the short-term treatment of pain, blah, 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 right? It says in the U.S., this is a kicker, in the U.S. and U.K., it is no longer approved for human use as it causes severe adverse effects such as the suppression of white blood cell production and aplastic and anemia. So poses very little risk to human health. I mean, look, she's just laughing like you stupid mother effers. After Fukushima, families on the edge of meltdown. 2 years after the Fukushima nuclear disaster, new phenomena is on the rise. Atomic divorce. Reports on the unbearable pressures and prejudices being faced by those caught in the radiation zone. Now, this is going off what we were talking about before. Blowing out candles banned for Australian kids. about killing, these social relationships and people talking. And I mean, it's already bad enough with the freaking cell phones that you could be surrounded in a city with full of all of these sheeple and people that you can talk to, discuss, daily events and stuff like that, and how we're all enslaved, right? But, everybody's got their faces glued on their smartphone, so nothing's going to ever really happen. Nothing's going to really ever change. Can't discuss anything with them. They're literally like zombies glued into it. So, but remember this, it says here that they announced that children could no longer blow out the candles on communal cakes at school birthday parties due to concerns over the spread of germs. So, yeah, we'll go down right here. So Japan always has to be under the clutches of the Western powers and stuff like that. It's the only reason why Japan deals with the United States is because of China, which again is in their clutches too. It says here, and they're managed by them as well. The stress on family life, and this is what I guess what I'm saying is that they could be very nationalistic, but because of this global economy and the way all these countries are able to be controlled and manipulated by this few group of elites, it's hard for them to really become a real sovereign nation. So the thing is like if they resist the Rothschild banking system, or they don't want to print money like they're told, they'll hit them with an earthquake or for whatever reasons. But it says here that the stress in the family life for all 2 million people across Fukushima has been immense. Marital discord has become so widespread that the phenomenon of couples breaking up has a name, so it's called atomic divorce. People are living with constant low-level anxiety. They don't have the emotional strength to mend their relationships when cracks appear. So, psychologists say we are starting to see more cases of suicides, depression, alcoholism, gambling, and domestic violence across the area. So this is the last time social stigma attached to the victims of radiation goes back to the aftermath of the wartime atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when men could not find work and women were unable to marry due to fears that they were tainted. Tokyo Maternity Hospital advised a new mother not to let her Fukushima-based parents visit her new grandchild just to be safe. Interesting, they're actually calling Fukushima women damaged goods. A farm theme boosts enrollment in rural Kansas school. The first clue is a sign of fresh eggs for sale in front of the school. There is a sheep pen on the baseball field, and the sounds of farm animals greet pupils every morning. It's not your ordinary elementary school. It says Walton Rural Life Center, kindergarten through 4th grade charter school in rural Kansas, uses agriculture to teach students about math, science, economics, and responsibility. It has a waiting list to enroll and has given the town here, a population of 235, a boost. The kids love it and they're learning, which, makes it more interesting to learn, I guess, which is a good thing. Joker child killer. I had no choice but to stab 2 toddlers to death. So, a nursery killer who carried out murders disguised as Batman villain the Joker told a court on Monday he was left no choice but to stab to death 2 toddlers and their minder at a Belgian crèche, despite saying he knew the murder was wrong. So, not surprising. It goes on here and it says that his lawyer said his client was paranoid schizophrenic who is irresponsible and cannot be punished. So this is Dark Knight, the Dark Hero programming, and this is something that has also been going on in China, and I think it actually has happened here in the United States recently with in regards to knifing basically preschool and kindergarten children, knifing them. And they're usually between 18 to 25, 30 years old. It's just another form of programming, but it's also what? It's also blowback of social engineering. They can't control everything, the social engineers, and this is what blowback is. It's something that they cannot control, but it's a result of the engineering, which is something that is not natural. But it really goes to show you about how damaged our society is, how low of a value we put on life, especially when it comes to the future. Better TV, I mean, we know about that because we sit there and we put all this debt, billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars of debt, on the shoulders of people, our youth, who aren't even born yet. And we just keep stacking it and stacking it and stacking it. And remember, I just covered about Obama. Under Obama, in the last, 4 years, he's racked up more debt than all the presidents combined. It's insane. Better TV might improve kids' behavior, study finds. Teaching parents to switch channels from violent shows to educational TV can improve preschoolers' behavior even without getting them to watch less. Then there's this from February 20th. I didn't know when to include this in these reports, but it fits in now. Baby born on frozen street declared dead and revived. So some of you may have already heard this. 2 alert police officers are credited with saving the life of a baby girl who was wrongly declared dead after being born outside in freezing temperatures in Toronto. She's now in stable condition along with her 20-year-old mother. Then we have Tiller's former abortion clinic beefs up security and preparations for reopening. Says the head of the new Kansas Women's Health Clinic, Women's Health Clinic, right? Said the facility is improving security measures leading up to its reopening. We take security very seriously, said the Southwind Women's Center director. Said they're going to work with private security companies, but did not provide many more details due to concerns about retribution from anti-abortion activists. She said that contractors working with the facility have already been harassed and that she has also been targeted at her home. I don't sleep with one eye open, but I do take the safety of my family very seriously. So it goes on, and they say that we want to be here as a full-spectrum medical facility that speaks to the needs of women, no matter where they're at in their pregnancy. So, building off that story, the Wichita Eagle reported on February 6th that unlike Tiller, Southwind will not offer late-term abortions. Tiller, one of the only physicians in the country who perform those kinds of procedures, late-term abortions, was killed by an anti-abortion activist outside a local church in May 2009. So, remember I was talking about out-of-womb? They call them out-of-womb abortions. They're born and they abort them or kill them. So, one of the things that we have here is what? Women in a communist society. So, during World War I, women had taken roles in society that had originally been those of men, such as working in factories in the workforce in the absence of men. That was part of the programming, part of the re-engineering of society. Not just for taking care of their families and rearing children while the men fought at war. Goes on here and it says that the women's suffrage movement has secured the most basic rights for women elsewhere in Europe and laid the foundations for total emancipation of women. The November Revolution of 1917, and this is the communist views towards women, women's complete economic, political, sexual equality to men for the first time. Lenin especially was an ardent supporter of women's rights and asserted that the communists worked to achieve total emancipation of women. Therefore, the Bolsheviks, contrary to the rather conservative Mensheviks, who often refrained from taking serious action, were eager to work to make women's liberation a high priority than it had been. So in communist society, women were supposedly equal to men. It says abortion also became legal in 1920, and also they made a law catered so women could get divorced easily. A rapid divorce. So Mayer, Yahoo's CEO, says stop working from home. So last Friday, she shocked and angered the masses when it issued an internal memo regarding a new policy that requires its employees who work remotely to relocate to the company's facilities or quit effective June 2013. It's funny because people are speaking out against it, saying it's a bonehead idea, especially since she's a new mom and that. But that's not why they're saying that, or why they're, well, because she's trying to get, people out of the home, is that it's, this undoubtedly backwards move, global technology innovator, you got to be flexible like Google. But she broke barriers. She was the youngest woman CEO to ever lead a Fortune 500 company and certainly the first to do it while she was pregnant. Use her platform and her power to make Yahoo an example of a modern family-friendly workplace. Analysis says military draft may open to women, so you want it to be equal, you got it. So it goes on here and it says that Obama regime recent decision to lift ban on women in combat has opened the door for a change in a new law. It compels only men between ages of 25 to register for a military draft. So it says here, policy director for the Service Women's Action Network, Marine Corps officer, says, we see registration as another step forward in terms of equality and fairness. February 2nd, 2013, women in combat, one more step towards equality. But he wants to go to war. But if so, any able-bodied man or woman should have the privilege and opportunity to serve the military-industrial complex. Military equality hasn't gone far enough. February 10th. And the people I was watching this with didn't like me making these comments because I kept pointing it out. Best short haircuts on the Oscars. So talking about the androgynous, or making them more masculine. Females, that is. And then, of course, male actors. Hey, Hollywood actors, need a lift? Talking about all these towering women over these short male actors. Woman bites off boyfriend's tongue after Valentine's Day argument. In-N-Out billionaire heiress explains why burger joints haven't expanded. They want to do quality. Where the Yahoo CEO redesigns aim to make site more inviting. Actually, it sucks. Thank you.